But I was like, Katrina, in your podcast, it's this extra special quality because it's so personally connected to your experience. So it's so you know what I mean, and that your life was touched by cancer. And so I wanted this live to very much be about who's Katrina, who is Courage Unfolded. Guys, I had the opportunity to share my story with Katrina and her new podcast that just debuted, and every detail and intention behind the way that you have produced this really touched me. There's an air of excellence, but more important than the air of excellence, it's your story. I want people to know a little bit about you and how cancer touched your life and why you created Courage Unfolded.
Yes, no, thank you. And by the way, Sandy, your book and your story touched me in so many ways. And just because I didn't, necessarily had cancer, or diagnosed with cancer, I got to relate to it so much, and it hit me in my heart in so many different ways. And it was definitely a real life when I'm reading it of like, you don't really need to, have cancer to have this affected. However, of course, if you do, it hits you, that much harder. But, thank you, of course, for having me on. I'm here at work and I'm like, I'm taking my break. I gotta go.
Thank you for taking, it'll be quick. It'll be a nice.
No, you're okay. So, really the purpose, yes, is for those that don't know, I was touched by cancer in a different way of losing my brother. My brother's name was JJ. His biological name was Jose, but he didn't look like Jose, so I say JJ. He was 19 when he got diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. And for those that do not know, that is a bone cancer. There's nothing that you can really prevent it from happening. Of course, like all cancers, is really just like, the cells kind of swapped. Chromosome 11 and chromosome 22, they just swapped, and there's nothing that we could do about that. And so he did a hard battle for about a year and a half. He was full of light in that battle. One thing he would actually say to me is, "Don't treat me like I had cancer." Which is, yeah, we took that, Sandy, and he lived in his own apartment. He went to festivals. He did the thing. He did pass away December 23rd of 2020, at 20 years old. So it was very devastating. 2 days before Christmas. So it really got me. And I already come from a very broken family. A family, of drug addicts, and grew up in sober living houses. I was actually, born and raised in Vegas. And so when he got diagnosed, it was a very complete life change. As you know, it happens all very, very fast, the medical side of it. But the resource side of it was very limited, as we weren't aware of a lot of the resources or what was really out there, if it was out there. And so during the time, we did what we could do, but even afterwards, I fell for a very, very deep dark hole. Let's just say I was doing the most, didn't really care about much of life. I did get at a point of my life where I didn't want to be here anymore, because I do come from such a broken family. I actually don't have a father, or anything in that sense. Me and my mom are very, we're getting there, but in the sense, it's just very hard in where I grew up. Very much, like I said, a prodigy of a drug addict, supposed to be 16 and pregnant. So I kind of got out of that hole during the 5 years that he's passed. I basically did a bunch of research and reached out to a bunch of other patients, caregivers, doctors, and there was no voice. And so cancer has evolved and evolution, and you guys don't have a voice. I didn't have a voice. I felt so alone in what I was going through, not realizing that there's hundreds and hundreds of people, if not millions of people, that go through the same thing. Whether you're diagnosed, whether you're a patient, whether you're a doctor, you turn into your own caregiver, as a patient. And then on my side, I turn into a caregiver as trying to take care of my brother and then going through grief. And so I started Courage Unfolded to bridge that gap, to give you guys a voice that I didn't have, something that I always felt like I was even missing in my own life, was this voice, and to speak and to know that we're not alone. And something like a life is so special, and everything else is really noise, especially when, you're sitting in your car and only have $20 to last you for a week and you don't know where you're going. You really start to enjoy life a little bit differently. And so I got myself out of that hole, and I proposed this offer and this idea, and everyone's like, Katrina, why are you not doing this? And I've always felt misplaced in life. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I put myself through college, a psychology major, and I loved talking to people. It was something that I utterly enjoyed. And so with Courage Unfolded, it is, yes, a platform for all types of cancer, survivors, patients, oncologists, pharmacists. It's, they would love to come and talk. Anybody that's been really affected by cancer, because I don't want anybody ever to feel or go through what I had to go through. It was hard and it was rough. And when you get at a point of your life where you just don't care about anything and you're like, why am I even here? What's the point? Um, you don't want anyone ever feel like that, especially when they're battling cancer, because something that you actually really resonated with me in your episode, Sandy, is you sat there and was like, am I needed? Um, and so that, I resonated with that. And so even now, after my brother passing and coming from the family line that I come from, am I needed? And so I had to figure that out for my own self after, losing someone from cancer. And I want to be a resource to anybody. I mean, I'm connected with organizations, sarcoma organizations, to Atrium Health I'm partnered with. And so I want to be a resource more than just a voice. And so it's really to bridge a whole gap. I think, as well as we talk, Sandy, a lot of people have a misunderstanding of the doctor's role and the medicine side of it and what that all really comes into. And so Courage Unfolded, guys, is going to expose it all. I asked, yes, those really hard questions. But it's time. It's time to become that voice. I moved myself out to New York. I had no idea what I was doing. I got an offer, and it's been one hell of a ride. Excuse my French, but I'm here, and we are launching the episode of season 1, episode 2 this Thursday. So every episode comes out every Thursday at 9 a.m. It is on all platforms. It's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. There's a visual on YouTube. Actually, I didn't know you can do the visual on Spotify, so I'm working on that.
Oh,
I had no idea.
so people can just, look you up, Courage Unfolded. I mean,
Yes.
I'm gonna go backtracking a little bit, and whether you're the cancer goer or the one that survived the cancer, the person that had to unfortunately perish from cancer, the challenge to me is all the same, regardless of the title. The suffering is the same, pain is the same. Do you know what I mean? It's an equal level playing field, pain, whatever you call it. So I feel like through your pain and your loss and the challenges that you felt from that side of the coin, man, did it birth so much light. It was the choice you made, but you had to go through that darkness in order to be like, okay, how can I be the light? Like you said, you don't want anybody else to feel, I guess, alone. And that's how I felt when I was writing. This is so dark, and I'm a pretty positive person, and I had to battle some things, as I know you have in those dark moments. So it's a choice of going, where is my intention? And when you change that framing where it goes outside of yourself, and how can I serve mankind in a way of love so people are supported, boy, does that open things up for life in a whole other way of service and purpose. You didn't know how you were going to get to New York, but here you are. And here's your podcast on all these platforms and with such gorgeous production level and beautiful, heartfelt host. I mean, Katrina, we both came out of the dark somehow to create.
We did. I always say, God, I believe in God, is what I believe in. Of course, I don't know what other people believe in, but I really always felt misplaced, or why, why not me, is something that you like to say. And God had a different plan. And so I've actually been going through this grief and this healing process. Yes, 5 years later, no, it doesn't get easier in the way of you're grieving and you've lost, a loved one. And in the sense of, I really do feel that God had a different plan for me, and my brother died for a reason. I believe that so heartily in my soul. It makes me sad every day. I wrote a speech actually last week, and I cried right after for about an hour and a half, and I couldn't help myself but keep crying. But sometimes that's just okay, because I do miss him. But But I really, really believe God took him for a reason. And I'm going to believe that in my heart, and I'm going to walk with that. And I think there's a bigger picture that I don't even understand yet.
Yeah.
I really don't. And yes, you put very two strong people, Sandy. You've encouraged me in so many ways. I, I have no words. Surviving cancer isn't as easy as people think it is. Again, something that I'm never going to take to heart that I can personally say I know, but what I've watched and the things that I've seen, and the you guys are a battle, and you guys are mountains, and you guys are the reason that I look and go, man, you can do it, Sandy. Why can't I? Why not me? This beautiful woman was this one person, not saying that you're not, but then you got diagnosed, and now you're this whole new revamped person. Yes, still being yourself in a way, but you came out so much stronger. And there's a cancer sucks. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. Pure point blank, it just sucks and it's scary, but it doesn't need to be death. And you are a walking light in that. You're a walking miracle in that. And so moving forward, know that you were touching hearts that have never even had cancer, and you're going to continue to touch hearts. And with this podcast, as I share your story and hopefully have you on it again, um, you're gonna inspire so many people, and that is the goal. And so I can't wait to even share this. And it's I see you're working out and your yoga, and you didn't let this defeat you. And that's something really hard to do, to battle in your head. Like, am I really gonna be here? And there's something stopping me, like actually stopping me, that might make that decision, and you didn't let it. Um,
Katrina, I thank you for your beautiful words. I'm trying to hold back my tears because
you're okay.
grief doesn't get old when you're grieving like your brother, someone you loved, and the cancer memory doesn't get old. It's a reminder of strength and to carry on when life, gives you another thing to deal with. But I want to bring it also back to what you said and how amazing was your brother, knowing his diagnosis, knowing it a tough one, and saying, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to go to those festivals. I'm going to get my own apartment. He lived his life in his short life. And that's as well. When I was given my diagnosis, I decided, you know what? I am not cancer. I'm Sandy. It was the perspective shift. I'm not going to be defined by this thing. It's gonna teach me something, and it's gonna kick me in the ass as well. But it's gonna be the ultimate teacher into my greater next version of myself. And so it really is perspective, and you chose that perspective as well. Of course, you went through some hard times, losing. I can't imagine losing my sister. Losing that is a whole other side of coin I don't ever want to experience. But you transformed it. You allowed yourself to go forward, not even knowing everything, but knowing you got to keep going somehow. And so deeply proud. I've done a lot of podcasts, I got to tell you, Katrina, but stumbling upon you, there's a few, there's the special people that really extra pop, and you're definitely one of them.
Thank you.
Intention, your integrity, and your heart is very much seen through the work that you're doing and what you're showcasing. And I wish you so much success in this podcast, in your life, and as your career grows in ways you don't even know.
Thank you. That meant so much to me. You have no idea. Because again, some of it I never even understood. And that weird thing that people say, like it's God's timing. I never understood that until now. And something that I want to share is really fast is I was not supposed to move to New York. I came out here for a wedding, and someone's like, I want to get you some job interviews. Like, I didn't, you're cool, you're this. I told my story, whatever the case was, and I got those job interviews. I went back to Vegas, broke my knees, and it took me 10 days, and I moved to New York. Yeah. I haven't stepped actually foot into a church really since my brother has died. I got here on a Saturday, and I was like, I'm going to church tomorrow. Like, I'm going to do it. And so I did it. And I was like, oh, I really like this. It felt very comfortable. So I went back the second weekend. And I look over, and there are pastors sitting there that I haven't seen in 6 years from Las Vegas. I was in shock. I was like, oh my God, no way. Of all the churches, out of all the universe and all the world, these people are here. This is insane. I, met with them right after, and I was like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, oh, we're visiting family, and we stopped in this church. And I was like, that is freaking crazy. And so it really blew my mind, Sandy, where I was like, oh my God, wait, I think that like I'm supposed to be here and I don't know why. And like New York kept kind of knocking me down. And I'm like, no, there's a reason. And like I have this podcast in the back of my head, and I was just always so fearful because again, I've really been alone, in the sense I've always felt in my whole life. My brother was my rock. I didn't have that dad. I didn't really have that mom. And I had that older sibling. And so when that gets taken from you, and you literally just have yourself, no cousins, no aunts, no uncles. I mean, nothing, literally nothing. It is me and my mom. I do have my older sister who just had, kids. Other than that, like even are very distant, but it's me. So everything that I've been building is yes, been through my heart. And the number one thing people are going to hear in every episode is I just want to bring back empathy.
Mm.
I do. I want to bring back the empathy because if anybody had that more, it was my brother. Um, and before he passed, I actually it was a stressful week. Pills and everything. I was exhausted. I actually ended up falling asleep for the first time. I feel like in like 2 days that was, and I told you this, but I think I'm ready to share it with the world now. I've been a little hectic, but I think I'm ready. And I love that I'm going to do it with you. I saw the biggest light just flash me. And when I tell you, I woke up so fast and grabbed my brother's hand and was like, it's time. I was the only one in the room. He took a few breaths and he let go. And I don't know why. I woke up. I don't know what that light was, but it blinded the crap out of me in a dead sleep. And I just knew. I already knew. And so within that, I am so grateful and blessed that I got to be that and do that. It was hard, it still is, but there's a reason. And if I don't understand it all, that's okay. But I hope I'm also a walking hope for people that we don't always have to understand things in the moment. But to be strong in our mental and our support and that empathy goes so, so far. It's not even funny. It's not all about the medicine. It's just not.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Just thank you for sharing that, sharing your heart and the story behind it. Folded. I thought how special. It's a very, I don't even have the words. So what do I say, Katrina? Happy Monday. What a way to
Okay,
start.
yes.
I just, I just love you. I send you love. I'm so proud of you. I just thank you. The way the world serendipity is like you meeting that pastor in a whole other location in your life. And it's like our paths connecting. Sometimes we don't need to know the whole trajectory of our life. And how boring would it be if you know your life from A to Z? There isn't surprise. Trust the adventure, trust the universe, trust the divine, trust God, trust life.
Yes.
Even through the depths of pain, there is something there to say, hey, this is for your growth, right? I
Yes.
so much, Katrina. I don't want to keep you forever. This is a little live. You guys get a taste
No,
of Courage Unfolded.
amazing. Thank you. I felt honored. I was like, and I got this any day. Any day. I can't wait to, I know we've only met virtually, but I really cannot wait to meet you in person and do another episode with you because I want to see where you come in a year or two because your story is not over and it has a long way to go and you have so much impact and just wait until your episode gets out there, Sandy. I mean, you are going to do amazing. And I did want to get this out if that's okay. I wanted people to understand Courage Unfolded is a 501c3. And so we really are, if anyone can support the mission, I do have two amazing Paula Tactic Foundation and Atrium Health. The funds actually go to their clinical trials. And so this is more than just a voice. I really want to start funding some trials. And so anything out there, again, it's all on the website, Courage Unfolded. But regardless, guys, without any of that, this is going to keep going up. And this is a voice for you, Sandy, and anyone who's welcomed. There's a section on the website as well, courageunfolded.com. You can actually to share your story. If you type that in, that goes directly to me and only to me. I want to keep this personal. I do all the intro calls. I'm the one emailing. It is all me, and I feel honored to do it, and I can't wait to continue to do it.
You're amazing. You're a powerhouse, Katrina. It's so nice to do this. Thank you for sharing your story. I hope you have a beautiful day. And people, do check it out, courageunfolded.com. I mean, and there'll be more to share. I can't wait. I send you so much love. Thank you for this time on the packs a punch of good stuff.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Sandy.
Yes.
You're to grow by.
Ciao.